Yeah, I'm back this Saturday. I'm back from my part two. Like I told y'all, I'll give y'all a brief story about how my lawyer sold me out. See, the lawyer, first of all, he charged 10 grand. This was in 2002. Charged 10 grand. I was telling my parents, everything gonna be fine, He didn't have any jacket. Talking about me, I ain't have no jacket. I haven't been convicted of no charges. You know what I'm saying? He said the guys that I shot, they were younger than me. But they both had jackets. They did time, and they had been doing time since they were juveniles. They said, matter of fact, that one of the guys had a brother. The year before, I called my charge. One of the guy's brother was running from the police, and he crashed and killed himself. So so the detective was like, "Man, these guys are criminals, and you not." Straight up, he said they're younger than you. And they're treacherous. They're criminals. You're not. So there's a thing called a pre-sentence investigation, which your attorney is supposed to do. And the pre-sentence investigation is like pre-sentence. Pre means before. So it means before you get sentenced, before I get sentenced, my lawyer supposed to do a background check on everybody that's involved. Me and those two guys. Which he didn't. And like I said, it was meant for them to sell me out. I was one of the ones they caught. They ain't have no jacket. They I guess saying among themselves in that old devilish demonic circle, we got one like this, we got to get him. We can make a bunch of money off him. On the other hand, the guy that lived, I guess they were saying, he in and out of jail, and look, rest in peace to the deceased. But they knew that they were prone to, the one that lived was prone to get in trouble again, which he eventually did. Because while I was Joseph, he called us Joseph too. Because I had an attorney looking. I had another attorney look for him so he could because he was saying, I had got word on the street that he was saying he was going to sign an affidavit for me, admitting the truth that they were trying to rob me. And I did send an attorney to the jailhouse where he was at. But I paid the attorney to locate him, and he found him, and he said, the attorney told me that the guy that I shot that lived was doing a 5-year bid. He had a 5-year Joseph. So the attorney went over there where he was at and asked him about signing the affidavit. So he said he wanted to check with his auntie. He said the reason why he wanted to check with his auntie because her son was the one who had passed away. So the attorney told me that he told the guy, I'll be back in 2 weeks then. But the attorney told me right then and there, he said, I don't think he want to sign it. I don't think he want to sign the affidavit admitting the truth. He said, because if he wanted to, he could have just signed that right then and there. His auntie has nothing to do with this. You're a grown man. He said, but anyway, I'm going to go back. I gave him 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, the attorney went back. And lo and behold, just how he said. He said the guy was like, man, my auntie told me don't fool with that. And just like the attorney says, auntie has nothing to do with this. You're a grown man. You out here violating, living the street code. And that's how he played it. So-called gangster. I'm a so-called wankster. And that's how he played it. He must want to sign the affidavit, but I ain't tripping. I didn't trip, back then, like I said. God was in control. So, what I was going to tell y'all, I was about to run something to y'all. It's going to come back to me. Oh, about how the lawyer sold me out. So, yeah, he didn't do the pre-sentence investigation. Long story short, he ended up having me pleading to a 40-year sentence. And the attorney told me I wasn't going to get no more than 10 years at the worst. He told me I was supposed to go to trial. And I didn't go to trial that day, so he came see me later on that day after court was over with. And he said, the reason why you ain't go to trial today is because I got a deal for you with the district attorney. So I said, what's the deal? I shot 2 people, one died, one lived. So I said, what's the deal? He said, the deal is, if you plead guilty to the murder, they're going to break the murder down to manslaughter. And he said they're going to throw out the and he said he's going to throw out the attempted murder. Throw out the attempted murder and then break and give you manslaughter on the murder charge. You plead guilty to it. So me, first thing I said, how much time am I going to get? He said, oh, man, this is exact words. He said, oh, you're a first offender. You're eligible for probation, which is true. He said, you're eligible for probation. And he said, man, I guarantee you 5, 7, no more than 10. So me, I'm like, first offender, never been in trouble. They ain't gonna give me no 10 years. Although I was protecting myself, still I understood that a life was taken. So, anyway, he, the lawyer said, I asked him what I have to do. And I said, okay, well, what I got to do then? He said, I'm gonna come back and see you with the guilty plea, contract that so you can, fill it out, initial it. And, that's gonna be that. I'm like, okay. So I go back on the till in the jail, go back on the till in the parish jail. Call my family up, let them know what's happening. The only thing my mama asked was, what you gonna do if they give you 10 years, which is a long time. I told her, I said, look, although those guys started the whole thing, they initiated everything. I said, still the life was taken. I said, we know some people that in prison for that situation like that, and they're probably never gonna get out. I said, so at least I have a chance to get out. I said, I ain't tripping. Just roll with the punches. I said, but I can't see him. Gave me 10 years. He told me I'm out of probation. So she said, well, you okay with it? I'm okay with it. So then weeks later, the attorney can't see me. We going over the guilty plea thing. I'm telling me the initial on the end. I'm initialing. Put my initials on there. Then I seen they had a 40 written on there. So my antennas kind of went up when I seen the 40. So I said, excuse me, why is this 40 written on here? And then he grabbed a big old law book, what's called Criminal Code of Procedures. And the Criminal Code of Procedures has all the charges that you can catch in the state of Louisiana. I'm talking about from A to Z, whatever charge you can catch, whether it's traffic ticket, DWI, stealing, whatever it is. Any charge you could possibly catch is in that book. And it's going to tell you a little bit about it and, the sentencing ranges and all that. So anyway, he opened up the Criminal Code of Procedures book to the manslaughter statute, which at the time had carried from 5 to 40 years, with 40 being the max. So he read it to me just like that. He said I had to write that 40 on there just like that because it carried carries up to 40 years. He know me green and gullible, ducked out, I ain't know no better, my family ain't know no better. We thinking they're in good faith, man, they dirty. Say, yo. So in actuality, he had me pleading guilty to 40 years and lied to me flat out my face. Yep, and when I tried to file on him, like ineffective, the courts denied me and stuff like that. The lawyer said he didn't say that. The things that stuff that he told me about getting sentenced, he said he didn't say it. I'm talking about straight dog me out. Yeah, in my face. That's how they playing and they don't care. So that's why I say, youngsters, if you're out here and you're thinking about violating, don't do it. Because guess what? You got to know the rules of the game. That's how they playing it. They ain't playing it fair. Yeah, I was blessed just to get out, when the laws changed. I was blessed to get out like that way. I let guys look all at my case and stuff, when I was in Angola and all that. On the law library, my boy, Big Bender. Thank you, brother. Skinny Mike, St. Thomas. Yeah. Brother, they was trying to fight and help a brother get out of there. But, yeah. Don't mess with them people. Yep, especially the ones that get caught off up into the game and be out there like that. Man, look, you got to know the rules of the game. And ain't nobody really, you don't know a lot of people, in the neighborhood and stuff we grew up in trying to, that was going to potentially be an attorney. So, yeah, we out here in the game, don't know nothing about the rules and, trying to play that, going out there hustling or whatever it is, violating. But then you got those smart folks that actually sit back and study the law and know the rules of the game and they're pulling off white-collar crimes and all that. Embezzling, millions or whatever, hundreds of millions of dollars and getting slapped on the wrist. They know they're going to get 2 years, a year of probation. They know that already. So when they eventually get caught, they ain't tripping. We're going to pay this little fine and get away with all this money. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get away with $100 million. We got to pay $200,000 back, $250,000 back. I got away with $100 million for 2 years. Which beats the armed robbery, hands down. You got people running into a corner store with a pistol, in the hood, rob the store. Get $100, if that, and get 60 years. Man, on robbery carries up to 99 years. You know what I'm saying? Get 60 years for $100. Yet you got these people that study the law, sit back and they know the law, and they go embezzle all this money. What they call white collar crime. Go to a federal prison, which ain't nothing like the state. Yeah, and get a year or two. pay a little $250,000 fine, but yeah, he done got away with $100 million. Yeah, so yeah, know the rules of the game. I mean, you might want to switch the hustle up. I'm just saying. That's my jewel for the day.